Welcome to round number 2 of the 2015 UCI BMX Supercross World Cup from Papendal, Holland. I'm Pete Deluski. We're here with Mike Day today. We're going to bring you all of the action from the quarterfinals on today's World Cup. Mike, it's good to have you in the booth.
Thanks, Pete.
So as you can see right here, here's the track in Papendal, and it's just an incredible track. Papendal is a true test of all-around BMX racers, as this wide-open first straightaway and ultra-technical track layout is the ultimate test to gauge where the elite riders are not only in their level of fitness, but in their skills department. Papendal is the track that will expose any weakness in a rider's portfolio of skills and speed. It will take the perfect lap here, Mike, to win, and with plenty of passing opportunities, we're going to see some great racing. We're looking for another exciting main event, as we saw in Manchester just a few weeks ago. To give you a recap of Manchester, it's the start of the new season, so there's a lot of great things going on there, a lot of new exciting things, and riders doing just some great racing. So in Manchester, it was the start of the new season of World Cup Tour, but things seem to have been just as they were when they ended in 2014. The riders that are now looking to take the overall titles will need to step up their game, as when the dust settled at the end of the weekend in Manchester, it was last year's overall series champions continuing their winning ways, with Caroline Buchanan and Liam Phillips both taking the overall wins this weekend in dominant fashion. In elite women, Caroline Buchanan was just plain unstoppable. Caroline rode well and had good laps all day, but when the gate dropped for the main event, she had a great lap. Caroline took the early lead and never looked back, blistering that Manchester track, and she rode with confidence of a champion, and it showed. It's going to take a huge push from the other elite women to stop her, and when Caroline gets on a hot streak, she's tough to beat. Last year, just the wins kept coming, and she won that championship. Can it happen here in Papendal? Mariana Pajon was fastest in yesterday's time trial, so it can be her or Mariana in that main event today. Last year, it was a rain-soaked main event, and Laura Smolders from right here in the Netherlands took the win. But with her not racing due to injury this weekend, it's time for a new winner to emerge here in 2015. In elite men, Liam Phillips was crowned the king of Manchester as he won his third time in a row on the World Cup circuit on his home soil in Manchester. Liam was unstoppable in Manchester, but Papendal's been always the jewel that this king wants to add to his crown. Last year, he was close with a third-place finish, but his goal for 2015 is to win on a big outdoor Supercross track, and Papendal is the perfect fit for this request. In 2014, it was Sam Willoughby who was unstoppable in the rain, but with his crash at the last event hindered this past champion, or will he come back stronger than ever and challenge for the win? With a 2-month break on the Supercross Tour after Papendal, riders want to leave here with a solid day of racing behind them and carry the momentum through the break. So let's get ready to watch the world's fastest BMX pros take on one of the toughest BMX Supercross tracks in the world, and let's see who will be victorious here at stop number 2 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. So as we get into that, you can see, Mike, these are the standings after round 1. Liam Phillips took that win. Amadou Mir was second. Nick Long from the U.S. third. Edis Tremanis fourth. George Daudet fifth. Trey White sixth. Twan Von Gent seventh. And Sam Willoughby eighth. Those were your main makers. So those riders there really looking to add to those points. You see right here, 9th through 16th in those points. We got some ties going on, but this weekend's going to really spread things out. This is the way those guys finished up, and it was definitely an exciting race to watch in Manchester, Mike.
Yeah, super action-packed. A little bit different here in Papendal with the track being so big and wide open, but definitely exciting. You see a little different, I mean, in the podium there in Manchester, Nick Long was able to get on there. He had a rough crash in practice, so yeah, anything can happen. Now when we move over to the women's side, same thing. We saw that great race there where Caroline Buchanan was victorious, but right on her heels was Elise Post and Stephanie Hernandez. They definitely had great races. Mariana Pajon, our past Olympic champion, she was in 4th, an unusual spot for her, and she rode very strong yesterday. And then we had some new names with Natalia Surova from Russia, a great ride there. Meryl Van Betham fighting injury coming through. Danny George from the United States had a great run, and Brooke Crane unfortunately had a crash, but she made her way into that main event as well.
So, Mike, here we're going to have an animation of this incredible track here in Papendal. If you can, talk us through it. There's a red arrow and a red arrow and a yellow arrow. Red arrow is the elite men, so talk us through what a lap is like here.
Yeah, coming down the front straightaway, that's the big triple that kind of decides the girls there, if you can jump that. But as they go into the infamous London crossover jump, and then this is also the tricky part, kind of an uphill, awkward corner. Come out of that into the rhythm section, real tall, steep, and deep. Just a real tricky section into the last corner. Little rhythm section into the finish line.
So it looks super easy on this animation, Mike, but getting out on the track on your bike's a completely different view. And we can get a point of view here on our GoPro course preview with Barry Nobles. He's up there on the gate, Mike. Talk us through his lap when he's actually on his bike here in Papendal.
As you come down, obviously the 8-meter start ramp, a triple jump, which is a little different for these guys. Some guys are jumping it, some are jump manualing. The big triple that's kind of the deciding factor for the girls. As you can come out, you see it splits both guys and females. The guys kind of going to the right with the big 2 sets of doubles and the crossover. This is kind of the awkward section. It kind of slightly goes uphill. A lot of line choices in there. We saw a lot of passing in there yesterday. Comes out of this corner, has to be the highest speed section of the track and the most technical. Big rhythm sections, a lot of different lines through there. Into the last corner, somewhat of an easy little rhythm section into the finish line.
Yeah, if anything could be easy, it's definitely getting across that line, but it's very difficult to get there on both wheels and make it through. But what we got to see yesterday, we had the time trials and we had qualifying laps. We went through the motos for qualifications, and then we got to those top 8 women and the top 16 men. And right here, as you can see, this was Mariana Pajón, and as Mike said, that was a decisive jump going into turn number 1. And this girl's just aired it out and definitely had a really good lap on the track, Mike.
Yeah, out of all the girls, she's the one that, we had a bit of a weather condition yesterday. It was real windy and cold, and she was the one that actually looked the most comfortable out there. Only girl to put, what I felt was a solid lap together.
Yeah, so Mariana took that top spot, and no one was able to pass her. Speaking of fast riders, right here, number 11, Connor Fields, 2-time past time trial world champion. He went out there yesterday and really lit up the track here in Papendal.
Yeah, he's also, a time trial specialist, but you could tell, he did hit every landing. He hit that awkward uphill turn, spot on, and stayed low and carried as much speed out of the corners and pretty much took a dominant win.
So those riders were pre-qualified, and then everybody else had to do the trials to get there. And this was earlier today. So you can see this is moto number 1 from earlier on. Connor Fields and Nick Kidman were in that very first moto of the day, Mike, and it's definitely a tough race to go. But you can see right here, Connor Fields rode that track just as he did in that time trial, where he had a really good run going, riding really smart, getting around that tricky part of the track. And we'll see a lot of passes in that section later, but you can see right here, he looks comfortable. He's got that lead, but Nick Kidman, he's that youngster. He was a junior world champion last year. He wants it so bad. Connor's in cruise control mode, and Nick Kidman says, I'm going to race you all the way to the line. Just nips Connor right at the line for the win there, and that was moto number 1. Then we move on to the second moto, and this is, again, another moto stack. We have Liam Phillips in it. He was just riding incredibly strong. We have a youngster, Romain Mahieu, from France. He was in that second spot, but Liam Phillips wants to keep that momentum going from Manchester, where he was super impressive each and every lap on that track. He did not lose a lap at all that weekend, Mike, and here he just rode strong as well.
Yeah, it looks super smooth, and he's known as the Manchester King, but it looks like he's finally starting to figure out these big outdoor tracks, and like we talked about, he's looking for that first outdoor win.
Yeah, he definitely said this is the race where he wants to win. And right there, if he rides like that the rest of the day, it shouldn't be that much difficult till he gets to that main event. Then we move on to Moto 3. And when you have that world champion out on track, anything can happen behind him. But usually that guy's out front. And Sam Willoughby from Australia looking really strong. And he had his countryman right behind him, Anthony Dean. And then that third place spot from New Zealand was Daniel Franks, but a lot of good action in this moto as well, Mike.
Yeah, Sam just looked pretty much unstoppable, winning all 3 eighth finals, and kind of did it in a pretty dominant fashion, which we've been known to Sam to do.
So as you see those guys, Sam just kind of strung it out. Anthony really wanted to push it, and a good battle in the back of the pack. But up front was Sam Willoughby, your current world champion, taking the lead, and that win there in moto number 3. And then we moved on to the elite women, their first moto of the day, and you had Mariana Pajón. She's a world champion, but Felicia Stancil doesn't care what rainbow jersey she's wearing. She boosted that jump into turn number 1, and it was a good all-out battle between these two women, Mike, around the track.
Yeah, Felicia put together, I would have to say, one of her best laps in a long time. Everything smooth, flowed together, was able to hold off the gold medalist.
So these two battled it out all day throughout these qualifiers. I think Mariana won the next 2 events, but it's going to be good to see them when we get through these qualifying races later on. But at this instance, it was Felicia taking the win just ahead of Mariana ever so slightly. And next up, it was Elise Post. Elise really opened the eyes to so many riders, especially the females, a few years ago. She was the first one to boost this jump into that first turn, and you see her do it right there. Lauren Reynolds from Australia right behind her. Then you had Elke Van Hoof, who's been really strong this season on the European rounds. But they were all chasing Elise Post, that national champion from the USA.
Yeah, I think after watching her first 3 qualifying motos, she's got to be the girl to beat. She looks so good down the ramp. Also in this moto is Caroline Buchanan, who barely made it out. Kind of had for her a subpar qualifying round. I think she went 4, 5, 6, so she's the last girl to get in out of that moto. But yeah, Elise is the girl to beat today, I think.
Yeah, so these riders each went 3 times around the track. The lowest 4 scores from each of those rounds moved on to the program, and now here we are into single elimination racing, and we go right into quarterfinal number 1, Mike. It's the who's who of BMX. We have Connor Fields, Damian Godet, Mara Strongberg, Edmis Tremanis, Liam Phillips, Link, Amelia Falla, and Jaspers. This could be a main event at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that thing, it's stacked. I mean, you have the local guy coming out of lane 8, but of course, yesterday's champion, Connor Fields.
Yeah, 22 years old from Las Vegas, Nevada. He's been on a tear in those time trials. This is a track that's always given him fits in the past, but again, his as well really wants to move forward. You see him right there. He's going to have that inside gate pick because he had such a good run in that last race, and that could be an advantage at most tracks, but not as much here, Mike, is it?
No, I mean, and you see Maris in 3. He's won here from lane 8, so I don't think the lane choice is such a big advantage here.
So here we go with quarterfinal number 1. Top 4 move on today's program. The rest of these guys are going to sit back and watch it. And right now it's going to be Maris Strongberg battling out with Connor Fields, and you have Liam Phillips on the outside. And then you got Tremanis in that 4th place spot. But right now Fields has a little bit of the lead over Strongberg. But this is where the track gets tricky, Mike.
Yeah, super technical. A lot of passing going on. It's kind of an awkward uphill as you see Godet go from 5th to 3rd there and mess up Liam. And Liam looks like to be out right now.
So that 3rd straightaway is super tech too, because you're really going fast. Things got to happen. And as you said, Liam Phillips is looking from the outside in. Right now it's going to be Connor Fields with the lead. He's going to be in front of Strongberg, Damian Godet, and then 4th place is going to be Edis Tremanis. Those are going to be the 4 that move on. Amelia Falla and the rest of those guys, unfortunately, their day is done. And as you said, Mike, that turn 2 is where things are definitely going to go crazy. And we saw right there, the winner from stop number 1 is already out. But you can see down this ramp, Strongberg and Fields just battling out bar to bar all the way to the first turn.
Yeah, you can see that first jump. It's a weird, awkward kind of triple. Some guys are jumping. You see Sam Willoughby later. He'll jump that whole thing. Connor, so technical, jumps, lands right on the pedals, and takes that extra pedal into turn 1 to get ahead of Maris.
All right, so as you can see right there, that's where Liam got to push off the track, and unfortunately that's going to be the end of his day. Connor Fields was the winner. Maris Strongberg was the second. Let's get a word from Maris and see how things went from his perspective around the track here in Papendal.
Maris, you've won here before from lane 8. Are you going to do it again this year?
I'm going to make the main first, and then we'll see, but I'll probably give it a shot. Got to do it for the fans.
Got to do it for the fans. We love that. Thank you so much, Maris.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So Maris is a quiet guy off the track, but on the track he lets his riding speak for him, and you see right there he's qualified through. Connor Fields is as well. Damian Godet, impressive. Did stick out. Phillips, but that's BMX, and then you got Tremanis who snuck in there for that 4th place spot.
Yeah, Godet's always been kind of the crafty one. You see him, 4th, 5th. He's always one to kind of go low, and he's really good in the corner, so it doesn't surprise me that he pushed Phillips off.
So that was quarterfinal number 1. The fans, and we'll get ready for quarterfinal number 2. And again, this is a stacked one. Anthony Dean, Twan Von Gent, Joris Daudet, Trent Jones, Carlos Ramirez, Bodie Turner, Adu Mir, and Corey Freiswick. Again, this could be a main event at any event around the world. But right now, Joris Daudet, he's been a standout so far. The young Frenchman, past world champion, looking really smooth around this track.
Yeah, I mean, watching him in practice and through the motos this morning, he's my pick to get on the podium and contest for the win here today.
So you see Joris there. He's got lane 3. Anthony Dean in lane 1. Let's see how things go as we wait for the gate call here in quarterfinal number 2. So the gate's down. You're going to see a lot of power come from the inside, and right there, Anthony Dean sticks his nose out. Twan Von Gent's not going to back down, and George O'Day's in the middle. Where do you go, Mike, into turn 1?
Man, Anthony Dean, just the big horse coming out of the gate. You know, we kind of expected that from him. He's been right on Sam's heels all day. So over the crossover, pretty good to see Twan racing so well after yesterday's crash.
Yeah, he had a big crash yesterday. Got stitches in his leg, and you can see that second turn, Mike. A lot of things were going on. Luckily for O'Day that time, he's able to get through. But there's a good battle there for that 4th place spot. We'll see what happens. Abdul Mir trying to make things happen. You see a crash in the back of the pack. It looks like Von Gent's going to get that lead over Dean. O'Day's going to stick in for 3rd, and then you're going to have Mir come through for that 4th place spot.
Yeah, super tight into that last corner with a pretty good crash. Never want to fall in these corners with the asphalt. So, yeah, but you come down the tricky first jump. A lot of these guys are jump manual, and kind of curious to see how that's going to come down when it comes to semis, and you're trying a little bit hard. I don't want anyone to push down a little too early, but Anthony got that perfect. And here's that tricky crossover jump that all these guys have been having issues with earlier.
So last year in the main event, it was Twan Von Gent leading the whole track, and he got passed by an Australian. That time it was Sam Willoughby. This time it was Anthony Dean being passed by Twan Von Gent. So let's get a word here from Twan Von Gent, winner of quarterfinal number 2 here in Papendal.
Your last straight was absolute textbook. You don't seem like you're injured at all, and meanwhile, you've had stitches and you're in pain. How are you feeling?
Sore still. We had a 15 minutes break. I really could use it because the bruised ribs are taking me a little short on breath, but until now I can hold it pretty good.
Hold it pretty good. You're doing amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Mike, I know you've had some big crashes before. What's it like trying to come back as we see who qualified through out of that quarterfinal number?
Yeah, Twan, I mean, he took a pretty nasty spill on that time trial yesterday, kind of slamming into the face of the rhythm section. But, I mean, as he walked off yesterday, he looked to be in too much pain to race. So good to see him. Obviously, he's from here, and, you know, he's got a little extra, you know, home crowd advantage here. So good to see him put a good lap in.
Yeah, he definitely wants to persevere through, as well as 4 of these guys want to go through. Number 1, Sam Willoughby, Renato Resende, Quinton Clarion, Vandenberg, Campo, Aquindo, Herman, Harmison. Again, stacked group of riders here, Mike. It's going to expect to see a lot of stuff come from these guys, but we always think number 1 world champion is going to make it through. But we've just seen some crazy stuff going on here already.
Yeah, by the looks of his motos, I mean, this shouldn't be too hard of a lap for Sam, I have a feeling.
Yeah, so Sam Willoughby, number 1, white jersey, rainbow stripes, indication of world champion. He's got the inside. Let's see how things go as we get ready for quarterfinal number 3 here in Papendal.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the gate drops, and it's going to be Sam Willoughby from the inside. He's got Resende, Clarion. Those guys are all battling it out. But right now, what's going to happen back there in the pack, Mike?
Yeah, a lot of activity going into this tricky off-camber bit. Sam Willoughby, like he did in motos, just looks so comfortable on the track, and he's one of the guys that's jumping that first jump. But he's just textbook. Every time it's solid for Sam, and looks like another win for him.
Yeah, this moto's a little bit more strung out than the rest. But right now, Sam Willoughby's walking away from the pack. 2nd through 4th are pretty tight. You see right there, Resende wants to pass Clarion down that last straightaway. They just want to be top 4, but Willoughby's the champion. Clarion 2nd, Resende, and then you have Aquindo for that 4th place spot.
Yeah, Clarion and Aquindo fighting it out. Resende is always the one that he can, you know, he's very crafty on the track, so you don't want, whenever you hear the announcer say he's behind you, you got to kind of take a protective line in the corners. But Sam here just...
So these riders really got bunched up everywhere from 2nd place back. The guy out front in clean air, as they like to call it, number 1, Sam Willoughby, just ruled that race. It was pretty safe, and that's the safest place you want to be, especially when you're able to control the pace of the race. So let's get a word in here with the champion of quarterfinal number 3, Sam Willoughby from Australia.
Sam, you're doing absolute stellar. You're winning every single moto, and you won here last year. What's your game plan for this year?
Same again, just try to keep ticking off clean laps. So far, so good, so we'll get up there for the semi and try to do the same.
Is it the outdoor track with the sun that's making you so fast?
It's a lot nicer here this year than last, so this is perfect conditions on an awesome track and got a good crowd, so we'll try to put on a show.
Great. Thanks so much, Sam, and good luck in the semis.
Sam Willoughby focusing on that next race. He's probably already thinking about it. You see he made his way through with Carrion, Resende, and Oquindo. Those are your 4 qualifiers that will move on to the semifinal, where once again, of 8 riders, top 4 move on in the program. One more quarterfinal left, Mike. And none of them are, they're all incredibly stacked. Again, we get to another one. Jelle Van Gorkum, David Graff, Daniel Franks, Romain Mahieu, Romino Marino, Kyle Evans, Joshua Callon, and Nick Kidman, the youngster, just came from that Junior World Championship last year, now moving into the elite class. But Jelle Van Gorkum, he's won here in the past in 2013. Just a strong rider. He's had a good day so far. What can we expect from him in the main event?
Yeah,
in the quarterfinal.
Watching his motos, he looks to be on form, but pretty cool to see the youngster of Nick Kinman. He had a bad third moto, which puts him in lane 8, but we'll see if he can kind of get crafty around the course and make some passes.
Here we go with the start, quarterfinal number 4. So from the inside, Jelle Van Gorkum looks to be strong, power flowing through, but he's going to meet up with Kidman. Looks like down that first straight. Right now, Kidman's pulling away, Mike.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'm so impressed with how fast he's riding. First year elite and already winning motos from lane 8 or whole shot, it's pretty impressive.
So these riders side by side, definitely not where you want to be going through these turns. There's a lot of moves to be made, but right now, Kidman's going to settle back, I believe, in that second place spot. Excuse me, he got around Van Gorkum, so Van Gorkum's going to settle in that second place spot and follow the youngster around. But look at the moves in that 4th place, Mike.
Yeah, Romero Marino cutting off Kyle Evans to secure that 4th place, so good luck for him.
So it's going to be the youngster Kinman with the win, Van Gorkum in second, Graff from Switzerland, and then Marino from Argentina. Great run from those guys, and just a lot of moves to be made. But if you're out front, that's the best place to be. But coming from lane 8, Mike, it's pretty difficult to do, isn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable to come from lane 8. Obviously, you got the big guys like Maris that can do it, but first-year elite coming from lane 8 and whole shot and Jelly, it's pretty impressive. So after watching that, he's one to definitely make this final today.
Confidence is definitely a big part of this sport, and winning that World Championship is definitely a boost in your confidence and your ego. Nick Kidman went out there and won it, so let's get a word from him and see how he went around in his quarterfinal here in Papendal.
Nick, you're absolutely on point today. Your first straight was amazing. Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, I had a good gauge from the outside. Had a bit of a late pick because I messed up my last motor a little bit, but I was happy to come around from the outside and got first and second with Jelly, so that's good.
Yeah, the Dutch guys are doing absolutely amazing. Tell me, what do they eat for breakfast?
I don't know, normal bread, strawberry jam, I don't know.
And lots of dairy, apparently. Thank you so much, Nick.
So Nick Kidman impressing a lot of people out here, Mike, and you see he's going to be the guy to move on first. Jelle Van Gorkum in second, David Graff in third, and Romino Marino from Argentina in that 4th place spot. 5th through 8th, they're in the fan zone for the rest of the day. They're going to be watching the racing with us. We have those semifinals coming up for both the elite women and the elite men. Mike, who's impressed you so far?
Obviously Sam, as you could say, just clicking off good laps, which he's shown us for year after year. After watching that, Kinman from lane 8, that's pretty unreal for the young rider. And Dean was pretty solid. He was in the motos with Sam all day today, going 1 and 2. So those 3 guys so far have definitely stood up top for me.
Yeah, big shocker to me is to see Liam Phillips go out so early in these quarterfinals. Last year he was consistent. He was in those main events at each and every stop. It wasn't his best race here, but he still made 3rd place. Today, he's going to be watching as he's out in the quarterfinals. So I know this is only the 2nd race of a 5-race series, but that's going to shake the points up already.
Yeah, and that's what BMX is. You never know, and it's ever changing, and you could have one good lap, and all of a sudden you're in the podium once, and now you're watching out of the quarters and not even making it out of the 8. So it's definitely why it's so entertaining, why we're excited to watch.
So as a past Olympic medalist, Mike, where would you rate this track on the Supercross Tour?
It's one of the biggest. You look at the track and the turns are so wide open. It's got crossovers, it's got big jumps. It's real steep and technical. and it's the most high-speed track we have, and not only that, it's the longest. So, which these guys are going to get tired come semis and mains. So, a lot of activity, a lot of passing, and just a great track to race on.
Yeah, we had sub 30-second laps in Manchester. Here we're in the 38, 37 range. Yesterday in that time trial, Connor Field set a new track record. But now when we have 8 riders on the track at a time, it could be faster times, but now it's just about those top 4 positions moving on in the program.
Yeah, in a time trial, you can kind of pick your line and ride the smoothest line, but you can't really do that, especially when you're in 3rd and 4th. You kind of got to protect the inside and make sure you not get past in this technical crossover section. So definitely a bit of a different game plan, but I think by come semi and main time, it'll definitely be lower than yesterday's time trial.
Yeah, we're making our way into those semifinals, and we will start with those elite women. And the elite women have really progressed in this sport, and the level was raised just a few years ago at this track here with that big jump going into turn number 1, and Elise Post made that big leap as well as a few other women. And I think that's going to be the key in moving on in the program, as well as having a chance to win that main event here today, Mike.
Yeah, it takes so much commitment down the front straight for the girls to hit that triple, and that's kind of what you need if you want to make this final. So has to be one of the most epic photos that was ever taken when Elise was in the air and all those girls were on the ground. But after watching, it looks like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of those girls are jumping it now. So should be interesting, and I guess this is the time to jump it if you haven't.
And then when we talk about the elite men, Mike, we saw how stacked those quarterfinals are, but now we've whittled it down to half the field. What are those semis going to be like?
They both could be the main, and no one would say one thing about it.
So how do you, when you're on that gate in a semifinal, how do you focus on just doing the same thing consistently over and over? How difficult is that?
It's the most difficult, but like Sam said, he's just trying to tick off good laps, and that's obviously the mindset you want to have, and it's easy for Sam because he's so good, but you got to kind of keep it basic, not let too many crazy thoughts go in your head, and kind of just keep gaining momentum as these guys are.
And how difficult is it to have consistent laps around the entire track and not just, the start's very important, but how difficult is it to be consistent around this track, especially because it is so long and so fast and all the technical aspects of it?
Yeah, it's the hardest thing. Crossover jumps and weird straightaways kind of let people sneak in and show you wheels, so you're definitely kind of riding protective and kind of watching where you're going. But at this level, these guys have been here and done it enough to where this is just hopefully another strong lap for these guys.
So as we see the first of the 2 semifinals for the elite women making their way up the gate, their gate picks come to them by the way they finished in their quarterfinals. They get to pick as they go up, and usually it's the inside is the most important gate. But here, any of the gates are prime just because of the length of the first straightaway. Kind of explain that a little bit, Mike.
Yeah, 2012, I think it was 12, where Maris won from lane 8. So it just proved to everyone that it is possible. He's obviously a rare breed, but this track just is so wide open that the gate choice isn't quite as crucial as it was in Manchester.
So you see the start list for semifinal number 1. Mariana Pahon, Lauren Reynolds, Brooke Crane, Caroline Buchanan, Danny George, Natalia Sororova, Simone Christensen, and Yana Bondarenko making their way into the semifinals. We have some names, big names like Mariana Pahon, Caroline Buchanan. Then we have a few of those young Russian girls. They've really been big on the scene this season already. It's a good mix out there, but there's a lot of power and a lot of speed loading up into that gate, and we'll start over here at lane number 8 with Bondarenko from Russia. Definitely one of the spoilers, opening up a lot of eyes to the young riders and really bringing that Russian program forward. Next to her, and you'll see it single digit on some of these riders' plates, and that's their position from the World Championships last year. That's going to be Simone Christensen from Denmark, also very impressive so far, making the main in Manchester and doing really well. She's going to come from lane 7. Next to her in lane 6, the other young Russian powerhouse, Natalia Sorova. She's impressed a lot of people as well. She's got a lot of power, a lot of skill. She's moved over to the UCI Training Center, and it's just increased her performance ever so much. Number 33, Danny George from the US of A. Made her way into that main event as well in Manchester. She's looking to do that today, but first she's got to get through this semifinal. The winner at stop number 1, last year's champion for the Supercross Series, Caroline Buchanan, coming out of gate 4. She struggled to make it into the semifinal, so we'll see how things go for her as she's loaded in the gate. Next to her, Brooke Crane. Brooke's been booming that jump into turn number 1, and you can see the seriousness on her face as she's ready to make her way through the semifinal. But she's going to have to fight next to Lauren Reynolds, number 21 from Australia. Lauren just won the overall national series in Australia for the elite women, and she's been riding really well coming back from injury. But someone who's always just done well, that world champion jersey, that Olympic gold medal, Mariana Pajon, number 100 from Colombia on the inside. She's been riding super fast and impressive all day as well, Mike.
Yeah, pretty stacked moto. I think these top inside 4 girls are going to have to steer clear and make that big triple into turn 1 to move on.
So we're going to see which of these top 4 finishing girls move on to today's main event right now as we get ready for semifinal number 1 for the elite women here in Papendal at the UCI BMX Supercross stop number 2.
Watch the gate.
So the gate goes down. It looks like Mariana Pajon and Brooke Crane both get really good starts. But right now, Mariana Pajon's pulling away. And Caroline Buchanan's come back, Mike, and she's sitting in that second place spot.
Yeah, pretty impressive after seeing her qualifying rounds, but that's what champions do. They figure out how to make it count when the pressure's on. So good for her into second place. But you see Brooke Crane jump that big triple into turn 1 and come up a bit short and sets her back into 5th spot.
So Mariana Pajon had a perfect run yesterday in that time trial, and she looks to repeat it right here in the semi as she's blazing around this track. Caroline Buchanan, that second place spot, Lauren Reynolds in 3rd, but it's going to be Mariana Pajon taking a decisive win, making her way into that main event. Caroline Buchanan in 2nd, Lauren Reynolds in 3rd, and Christensen in that 4th place spot. Those 4 women will move on to today's main event. So stacked semi-final number 1 for those elite women. Any of those riders could have been in the main, but as you said, Mike, a lot of things didn't go right for some of these riders down that first straightaway. But what definitely went right was Mariana's speed down the ramp and over these jumps down the first straightaway.
Yeah, so much skill to jump manual that jump, and she does it perfect hitting that triple. But you see Brooke right there come up way short. I'm not sure if it popped her tire or whatnot, because I don't think she finished from there on out. But yeah, Pajon, clear track, smooth lap, ticking them off, just like Sam said, and on to the final.
And you saw Caroline Buchanan didn't attempt that jump, and she still made it through because of the other riders came up a little bit short. And at the same point, she has the determination, she has the experience, and she has the skill to make it through semi. So let's get an interview with Caroline Buchanan and hear about her day overcoming adversity and making her way into that main event here in Papendal.
Caroline, you had a little bit of a tough time earlier today in your motos, but you've completely made a comeback and you're doing awesome now. Tell us about your experience with the motos earlier today.
Yeah, it was some days you have your good days, some days you have your bad days, and at the end of the day, it's whatever happens in the main is what matters. So getting through to that main, and now I'm just going to unleash and bring out the energy I got.
Well, you definitely brought the energy back, and we're definitely not used to seeing you not on your A game, so we're glad to see you back.
Thank you.
So Caroline Buchanan, knowing what it's going to take, you can have a bad time in the motos, but it's in those semifinals, Mike, where you just need a top 4 to move on the program.
You don't get a rainbow stripe without going through a little adversity, and it's the champions that pull through. So I expect her to hit that triple come main time to put her name in there for a top position.
So you see the official qualification, Pajon, Buchanan, Reynolds, and Christensen. They're going to meet up with the top 4 riders from semi-final number 2. And we'll start out in gate 8 with Elke van Hoof from Belgium. Definitely been riding strong. Had a good day yesterday. She wants to make it into that main event. Next to her is Hoosman from here in the Netherlands. A youngster really going to put a stamp and make her name well known. Let's see if she can do that today in semi-final number 2. From the USA, it's going to be number 23, Felicia Stansel. Felicia's been riding really well, but it has to be done in the main event to really count. Next to her, Magali Poitier from France. Took some time off, but she's back here on the gate for semifinal at stop number 2 of the UCI BMX Supercross. Next to her is going to be Etanie from France. She surprised a lot of people by making that main event in Manchester. Can she do it again today? We'll see in just a few seconds. The national champion from the USA, Elise Post, number 11. She's going to try to make her way into that main event. From the podium, last stop in Manchester for Elise, as well as Steffi Hernandez from Venezuela. She's in gate 2. but they're all going to be battling the local girl who's got the secret lines down, and she had a crash earlier today, but she still made her way into the semi-final. Meryl Van Betham from here in the Netherlands. The crowd will go crazy if she can make her way into those top 4. Let's see if that can happen as we get ready for the gate to drop here in semifinal number 2 from Papendal for the UCI BMX Supercross.
Random start. Riders ready. Watch the gate.
So the gate drops, and it looks like Stephanie Hernandez gets a little bit of a pop, but she's going to be next to Elise Post, and Felicia Stansel's right there. And they're going to go into turn number 1. Felicia boosts that jump. So does Stephanie Hernandez, and Elise Post is in there as well. And those are your top 3. 4th is going to be a good battle, Mike.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Felicia coming out of the outside. But as we saw yesterday, she was just riding very comfortable and kind of making good work of the track. And she's one of the girls that would get really good backside on that triple going into turn 1.
Yeah, so Felicia takes the lead, and now she's going to have a little challenge from Hernandez, but they definitely want to stay up, go first and second in this semifinal, and it looks like it's going to be Hernandez right at the line, edging out Stansel Post, and then Betham makes her way around Van Hoof right at the finish to move on into the main event, and you heard the crowd erupt as she came across the line.
Yeah, pretty solid lap for them. Also, you see coming out of the gate, Elise Post just known for her good start, but you could see her overjump that jump a little bit and give Felicia a bit of an elbow coming into the first straightaway.
And when you're stuck side by side like that, it's definitely tough to do that big jump. But you can see right here, Felicia and Hernandez both boosted it. They made their way in, but Elise carried her momentum around and got in that 3rd place spot. But you can see 4th place, that was where Van Betham had been, but a lot of things got bunched up down the straightaway, except for up in the front. It was Felicia with a good lead, but then Stephanie Hernandez made that hard charge all the way to the line to make her way into the front. But we'll hear from Marilee Van Betham as she made her way into today's main event.
Marley, you crashed earlier today, and now you've made it through to the finals in front of your home crowd. Do you have anything to say to them?
Ja, I will say it in Dutch because most people here are Dutch. Dank jullie wel allemaal voor het op te komen en ons allemaal aan te moedigen. Jullie zijn geweldig.
Thanks so much, Marley.
All right, so we've seen a lot of the racing action, what's going on here in Papendal, but there's a lot of stuff to get these races together, and there's a big, huge facility here at the Olympic Training Center. Let's get a behind-the-scenes look of what it takes and what it's like here at the UCI BMX Supercross here in Papendal in the Netherlands.
Hi, I'm Lauren Berlingeri, and I'm here today at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup 2nd event here in Papendal. It's a beautiful day today here in Holland, and I'm going to be showing you behind the scenes before all the action starts. Come on. So we're here at the bottom of the start ramp. We're going to walk up the stairs and see how it compares to Manchester's. Let's go. We got to get a close-up of this. So we're coming up to the coaches area, and this is where all the coaches hang out. They assess what's going on with the riders, how they're performing on the track in the practice round, and then they'll go back and talk to the riders on exactly what they need to do to up their game. So this is the part of the track that everybody's talking about. It's the crossover. It's when the men's track crosses over the women's track. It's pretty intense. Now this is where all the riders hang out. And in each tent, they have different riders from different countries. So we're just gonna go check out, talk to some of the riders and see what they're up to. Come on. So I'm here with Mariana. You're super popular in Colombia. You have a massive fan base and you have a massive social media following. How has that support helped you at the World Cup events or you as a rider?
But I think that's super important to have like people pushing and sending you the good energy, I think. And yeah, I think it's good for the sport also.
So I'm up on the balcony in the VIP lounge. Now, as you can see, this is the best view in the house. And right behind me, I have the stands. Soon these will be full of screaming, cheering fans for their favorite rider to come across the finish line. So this brings us to the end of the track, of course, the finish line. This is where the riders are going to be coming across, and they're going to be interviewing with me. So this is where you'll be able to find me, and I'll be getting the inside scoop and what happened in the races.
From the shores of the Caspian Sea, in the ancient land of Azerbaijan, rises the first European Games. Be part of sporting history in Baku this June. The European Games, Baku 2015, rise to the occasion.
Welcome back. Papendal, Pete Deluski, Mike Day. Mike, it's time to get serious. We saw the Elite Women semifinals. The main is set for them. Now it's time for the Elite Men. Racing gets a little bit faster. The track gets a little bit gnarlier. What do you think we're going to see when we get these 8-man semifinals loaded up in the gate?
Oh, I'm starting to get nervous just thinking about it. I think, you know, a lot of bar banging, hopefully no crashes, a lot of passing in this crossover section, and you know, hopefully some good laps out of these guys.
Last year it was all about the weather and the conditions. Today, I don't think it could be any more perfect for a Supercross BMX race. The sun's out, the fans are pumped, and there's no wind. It's something that doesn't happen very often in Papendal, but today we've got the perfect conditions. I think Mother Nature's making up for last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, after yesterday it was freezing, windy, and you know, these guys were getting thrown around in time trials and motos and made for such hard conditions, and then to wake up today to be crystal clear, it couldn't be much better for these guys.
Talk about what it's like, Mike, when you're loaded up in the gate and that is your view down that 8-meter ramp.
Yeah, I mean, you try not to take in all the crowd and the fans, and you know, you probably got your coach sitting over there. It's just, you know, another lap. You've done 100 of them in practice, so just want to kind of go through the motions, stick to the basics, and kind of do your own thing and not kind of get caught up in all the hype and all the activity around.
And you're really just focusing on one obstacle at a time?
I mean, I think a lot of these guys kind of visualize what they want a good lap to be, and you know, obviously you change groups and riders next to you, but in BMX you can only control yourself. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you get a good start, you put yourself in a position that you want to be in. So can't worry about too much of what's going on. You got to kind of stick to your basics and to your game plan that you and your coach have kind of talked about over the last, or you know, as you're training, getting ready for the race.
And as you walk up the back of that starting ramp, Mac, go back to your days, your championship winning ways. What was it like and what was going through your mind as those last few moments before you got loaded in to battle against 7 other competitors on one of these Supercross tracks?
It's just, you kind of, I mean, each of these guys have their own, you know, pre-race routine. Mine usually started at the bottom of the hill. You know, you just kind of think about a good lap, a good start, and, you know, try to get in the zone. I mean, it's hard to get into the zone, and when you're feeling well, and it's the best feeling. So these guys are kind of just, you know, rekindling, I guess, what the last quarter felt like, and just kind of getting in the mood. I mean, this is the most important lap. Once you're in the final, you can kind of let loose, so you can kind of take some chances. But this is the lap where, you know, this is the most important one. You got to have that good start. You got to have, you know, good choices throughout the course to not get you knocked out like we saw Liam earlier.
And Mike, you've had a lot of great success in here, but tell us about your biggest accomplishment in BMX Supercross.
I mean, obviously it's my Olympic 2008. I mean, I got second place right behind the machine, as they like to call them. But yeah, I mean, that was the race where I had, you know, good energy. Everything was working. You know, you didn't think about it. It just happened, and that's a rare, you know, it's rare for these guys. I mean, they're so focused on form and this and that, but there is a few weekends of the year where you're not thinking. It's just happening, and that's kind of the zone you need to be in for when it comes down to the semis, and especially when they're as stacked as they are here.
Yeah, so we're going to have these 2 semis, just as we did for the Elite Women. Now for the Elite Men, same format. Top 4 move on to that main event, and you definitely want to be in the top 4, but the best spot to be on any one of these laps, Mike, is out in the front.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you kind of, you dictate the race. I mean, it's your lap. So the whole shot's super important. I mean, in Heat 1, you got Kinman. He came from lane 8, so he has the first pick now after winning that moto. So him and Conman will be next to each other. So definitely, I would think that those two guys would be the leader into the first turn. But middle of the pack, you got Anthony Dean, who also is unbelievable out of the gate.
So you look at these riders; they've traveled from all around the world to get here in Holland to compete against each other. They traveled the whole world on this World Cup tour, and this is what it's all about now. How can you get into that zone from the bottom up there to the top of that ramp, and how can you get yourself motivated to do that?
I mean, like I said earlier, those weekends where everything's just clicking, those are few and far between, but it's the really good riders that can do it every weekend, like Connor. Connor turns it on every weekend. Obviously, Maris is always clicked on, and Sam, he's got his pre-race routine we were talking about, just knocking off clean laps. So it's hard, but these guys are obviously really good at what they're doing. So they're all dialed in. You can kind of tell as they get up there, they're slowly starting to get into their pre-race routine and thinking about that perfect lap.
So the riders get to pick their gate position by the speed or the time of their quarterfinal for each, and the semifinal, as well as moving on in the program. So they get to pick their gate. They know what position they're going to be as they walk up that ramp. And sometimes it looks like Kidman's back out in lane 8.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I was thinking after that unbelievable start he had in the quarter that he'd have enough confidence to pick 1, but I guess he's kind of, he obviously knows every inch of this track, so he's playing it local from the outside. So yeah, pretty interesting to see that actually.
So yeah, we'll start on the outside with Nick Kidman. He's that youngster that just last year won the junior men's world championship, and here he is in the elite semifinal here in Papendal. Pretty impressive stuff. But we have a few other riders on there that have definitely been turning some heads, main event makers, as well as a few surprises, as Connor Fields is usually a super consistent guy. He did make his way to that main event, but we also saw Liam Phillips today go out in those quarterfinals. He doesn't have the opportunity to make it and move on through the program. So we'll see some interesting racing here. A few different names that we haven't seen in some semifinals in the past, but BMX is always progressing. The rider skills, the rider speed, the technicality of their tracks is always changing. So BMX, the goal is to be consistent, but that's one of the most difficult things to do in this sport, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, just so much can happen. So it's always been impressive that the top guys can do it week in and week out. It's so hard to do. So you see Sam, he's the one that does it week in and week out. But yeah, Kinman from lane 8, pretty interesting to see how this turns out for him.
So yeah, we'll start from lane 8 with the riders in today's semifinal number 1 here in Papendal for the second stop of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. Nick Kidman, as we said, that youngster, he's going to go once again from lane 8. Worked for him in that quarterfinal. We'll see how things work for him here in the semifinal. Next to him in lane number 7, Amidou Mir from France. He was in that main event in Manchester. He was in the right place at the right time. Got second place in that main event. Can he make his way and be consistent into the main today? Coming out of gate number 6, another Olympic medalist from 2012. That's going to be Carlos Oquendo from Colombia, loading up in lane number 6. Next to him from France is going to be Quentin Calderon, a guy that's been super strong. Injured last year. He definitely wants to make his mark known here today. Another one of those smooth, fast Frenchmen, Damien Godet from lane 4. He's aggressive on the track, quiet off the track, but we'll see how things work out for him here in semifinal number 1. From Switzerland, David Graf, definitely another one of those guys. He crossed over from mountain bikes into BMX, definitely looking to make his way in that main event. The barrel-chested Australian, number 144, Anthony Dean. As Mike said, he's got some great starts when they're on. Can he do it today? And yesterday's winner of that super final time trial, you saw him go through easily in the quarterfinal number 1 in gate number 1. Connor Fields from the USA. A stacked race, Mike. Let's see how things work out as we have the riders loaded in today's gate, semifinal number 1 for stop number 2 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. Let's let the gate fall, and the top 4 riders will advance on to today's main event.
Okay, riders,
here we
random
go
start.
with semifinal number 1.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the gate dropped, and you saw those riders flinch. They're waiting for a sound, and who didn't flinch looks like Connor Fields and Anthony Dean, but right now, Kinman from lane 8, he's out there. Anthony Dean pushes him a little bit low. Connor Fields comes underneath him. It's going to be wild through this part of the track, Mike.
Unbelievable. 2 hole shots from lane 8. This kid's feeling it. He might be in for the win today.
So Kinman's out front. You see Anthony Dean. Connor came up just a little bit short there, but he's still in that 3rd place spot. In 4th, it's going to be a good battle, but you can see Clarion trying to make his way through. Those guys are going to come underneath the turn, and it looks like that's the inside move you need. Kinman's going to make his way to the win. Anthony Dean in 2nd. 3rd place is going to be Carlos Aquindo, and Quentin Clarion made a great move to pass 2 riders going into that turn, getting the last spot into today's main event.
Wow, Kinman coming. I mean, watch some commitment coming down this triple into the turn 1. Looks like Dean kind of has him coming into the first turn, but he lands that triple and takes 3 extra pedals getting into that big first corner.
Yeah, you can see those riders bumping right there. It looked like it opened a door for Connor Fields, but it came in a little bit low. And this straightaway, it narrows up a little bit, and right here is where things get technical. And you can see Connor overjumps that jump a little bit. Then he seems to tag there, and things just go wrong for him. The wheels come off there. But Anthony Dean was in that 2nd place spot. He got to see the fastest lap around. Would Kinman have it? Let's get a word here from Anthony Dean, who made his way into today's main event here in Papendal.
Anthony, you got the whole shot and you were the first in the first jump. Walk us through the race.
It was a hard race. I had Connor Fields on the inside, and he's always a great competitor, and I just knew I had to get a good start and got the jumps great.
Well, you just had an amazing day today. You're on fire. What's your secret?
Just pedal fast, and it's a big track so I can open up.
Well, Papendal definitely loves you, so congratulations.
I love Papendal.
Woohoo!
So Anthony Dean slots in 2nd, right behind Nick Kidman. Carlos Aquindo back in the main event, and Quentin Clarion, as we said, coming back from injury. He's got to be excited to be in that main. Unfortunately, Mir, who made that main in Manchester, and the rest of those guys, their day is done, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Connor Fields coming down the rhythm section in 3rd place, only to get, kind of dive bombed in that last corner by Clarion. Good for Clarion. Hasn't been in a final lately, and as you saw across the finish line with a little fist pump. So good to see him back up in the mix.
Yeah, so definitely an exciting race there. A little bit of a surprise on some of that stuff. Unfortunately, David Graff went down on that first straightaway. We had the medical staff taking a care and look at him, but we'll get ready for semifinal number 2. As we have half of the main event for those elite men set for today, Kinman, Dean, Aquindo, and Clarion.
I'm in awe of Kinman. First year elite, obviously junior world champion last year, but it's super rare for a junior just to step in to elites and not only make finals but do it in a unreal fashion, coming from late, not only in the quarter but the semi, and that's the hardest lap of the day. So seems like he's kind of the future of BMX as of right now. I know his younger brother's also doing real well in the junior class, so pretty excited to see them and watch them over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I spoke with Nick earlier in the day after the motos were finished, and he said, in the beginning of the year he was excited. He got 5th at the first of the European Series races, and he said that was great for him. He made the main event in Elite Men. He said he went to the next one, and he got 2nd, and he said from there on it clicked, and he said he wasn't happy with 2nd place. He wanted more. He went on to win one of those rounds, and that's here today. He's made his way into that main event, taking 2 big hole shots from lane number 8. And we'll talk about in a little bit, if you do that in the main event, there's a big prize added to your purse and the prize money here. And each and every one of these stops on the Supercross, but right now we got to worry about semifinal number 2. And again, it's filled with a lot of great riders, including the gold and silver medalist from the Olympic Games in London, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this moto, it is the who's who of BMX. I mean, Strombergs, Twan, Jelly, Sam Willoughby, Joris. I mean, man, it's loaded.
All right, we got those riders loaded on the gate. Let's do the run through with them. We'll start out in lane number 8. That's going to be Ramiro Marino from Argentina. One of those guys, he's been around on the Supercross Tour for a while. He wants to make his way into a main event. Next to him in lane number 7, a guy who made the podium here last year, Edzis Tremanis from Latvia. coming out of lane number 6. He was in the main in Manchester. He wants to do it again today. He's going to have to do it from lane 6 in the semi. Number 33, Joris Daudet. Next to him, number 81, the Machine, as Mike referenced him to before. You're a 2-time Olympic gold medalist from Latvia, Maris Strongbergs. Next to him, from Brazil, Renato Rezende. Rezende 500, as the fans like to know him as, and he definitely wants to pedal his way into today's main event. Now we'll get down to the locals. In lane number 3, had a bad crash yesterday, stitched up, he's packing ready to go. Number 148, Twan van Gent. Number 37, Jelle van Gorkum. He's won here in the past. He'd love to do it again, but he has to make his way into the main event. And here, the winner from this stop on the UCI Supercross Tour last year in lane 1, plate number 1, your current world champion from Australia, Sam Willoughby. So here we go with the gate drop for semifinal number 2 in Papendal. This will decide the last 4 riders in today's main event. Let's see how things go as we get ready for the gate to drop here in Holland.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the gate drops, and it looks like there's a lot of power coming from the middle, but those things get eaten up quickly, as you see right there. Sam Willoughby and Joris Daudet out front. Then you have the 2 Dutchmen. That's definitely not how you want a team ride, bumping into each other. But right now, Sam Willoughby's out front, Mike, and that's where he's been all day.
Yeah, like we talked about, clicking off perfect laps. Jelly in second. Looks like Joris to be in third, and Rezende, Mr. Skill, in number 4 spot.
Yeah, it looks like that crash may have taken out some of the other riders, including Strongbergs. But right now, it's going to be Sam Willoughby, Jelle van Gorkum, Joris Daudet, Renato Rezende. Those 4 will move on in the program unless any foreseen issues happen. It doesn't. Those are your last 4 riders in today's main event. Willoughby, van Gorkum, Daudet, and Rezende. A crazy race going into turn number 1, Mike. And those 2 teammates just bump, but talk us down to this first straightaway.
Yeah, you see Twan gets out unbelievably. He's maybe a little bit elbow ahead of Sam, but he goes into this first corner, and him and Jelly kind of bump elbows, taking him out of the race and messing up not only Tremonis but the Machine.
Yeah, for Joris Daudet, he just happened to be in the right spot as he was able to get around the carnage, stick his way in that 3rd place spot, and him and Rezende cruised around behind Sam Willoughby and Jelle van Gorkum as they had great laps. So let's get a word here from the local, Jelle van Gorkum, past winner. Let's hear what he has to say about today's great run in semifinal number 2.
Jelle, you've been absolutely on point today. You've won here 2 years ago. Do you think that you'll choose lane 8?
I'm definitely not going to choose lane 8. The strongest guy is not always winning. You can see that on this track. It's a long track, and you only win if you cross the finish line as first, and that's the plan for the main event.
Well, you definitely have the energy of your home crowd behind you. Do you have anything to say to them?
Thanks, guys. You guys are amazing. Dankjewel, jullie doen het goed en nog één keertje.
Give it up for Jelle!
So, Mike, we have both main events set, and it's going to be incredible races. Just 2 laps left. You see the top 4 confirmed riders, Willoughby, van Gorkum, Daudet, and Rezende. They made their way into that main event with the other 4 from semi number 1.
Yeah, I mean, bummer for Maris. He was looking strong all day. He's kind of like Sam, very textbook, and lets it all hang out in the main. I was hoping to see what he had from lane 8, but I think Kinman's going to take lane 8 and kind of go for the lane 8.
So they're going to get the track in perfect condition here for the last 2 races of the day, Mike. What do you expect to see when the gate drop for these main events?
In the girls' side, I think I thought Elise looked well all day. She had a bit of a rough semi, so hopefully she can kind of put something together. Felicia looks very well. You can never count out Caroline and, of course, Mariana. For the guys, it looks like Sam's race to lose. He's very every lap's the same. He's very just in the zone that we talked about earlier. So look for him to be sticking his nose in the inside.
Yeah, so it's been some incredible racing up to now, but now it's where it all comes down to really mattering in that main event. You want a podium here, but just making your way to the main event's a great accomplishment, Mike. But you know it. You're on that gate lined up for the main event. All you want to think about is winning.
Yeah, and you're in the main. You have nothing to lose now. You can take some chances. You can kind of you know, push into the corners that, you know, you're maybe struggling with, or show some guys the front wheel in the corner. So this is the time to do it. I mean, a lot of these guys are, you know, Clarion hasn't been in a final in a long time. So for him to get in there and maybe kind of weasel his way through the pack.
So as an added incentive here, if you choose lane 8, it's the double dice promotion. Let's give you all the information on what that's about here on the Supercross Tour.
The gate is down, and it's going to be the machine from lane 8.
Going from gate 8, he took that win. If you're doing that here today in either of the main events, whether you choose lane 8 or you're given lane 8 as the last choice, you get double the prize money, which is a pretty big incentive for these riders. But I know if you have any doubt in your mind, you definitely want to go from lane 1. But as you said before, Mike, this track is the one where anybody can win from any gate at any given time with that good start.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people that are thinking about the overall title and definitely adding points and want to get that overall Supercross title, lane 8's probably not the smartest choice. Kinman, on the other hand, he's got a lot of good hype right now. He just won the quarter and the semi from lane 8. I would think that he would pick it. So I guess we'll see.
All right, as the riders come up, they get to pick their gate by that position that they went in. Mariana Pajon took gate 1. Stephanie Hernandez took gate 2. Felicia Stansel will go into gate 6. Caroline Buchanan, lane 3. Elise Post looks for lane 4, so we have 3 riders left that can choose that lane 8. We'll see if anyone does it. Lauren Reynolds just punched her way into that double dice advantage or victory celebration if she's able to do it. But it's going to be tough. But sometimes coming from lane 8, not to disrespect any of these riders, but sometimes the rider who has lane 7, you may be able to get in front of them, not making it any easier, but as we said before, it's happened here before on this track, but we'll see how things turn out today as the riders for the Elite Women's main event have all selected their gates, and they are ready to get into the gate. And we're going to start from the inside. So from gate number 1, number 100 from Colombia, it's going to be Mariana Pajon, the current world champion, as well as your Olympic champion, and I would read that for you, but I'm not going to. I believe it says Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms of BMX. BMX is a great family sport, and Mariana is excited to say that for her mother. So we'll get ready in lane number 2 for the main event here today. Number 469, Steffi Hernandez from Venezuela. She made her movement from Venezuela to Switzerland to train, and now she's in the main event once again. She podiumed in Manchester. Can she do it? Gate number 3, our winner from stop number 1, last year's overall champion from Australia, Caroline Buchanan. A winner from here in the past, number 11 in gate number 4, that's going to be Elise Post from the USA. Lane number 5. It's going to be Simone Christensen from Denmark back in that main event. She definitely wants to make her way onto the podium. Lane number 6 will give us number 23 from the USA. Felicia Stansel, definitely been riding strong as well. Can she make it happen when it counts here in the main event? Lane number 7, the girl that spends the most time of any of the riders on this gate, on this track here, it's going to be Meryl van Betham from right here in the Netherlands. And the rider that has the opportunity to win that double dice, double the prize money from lane 8, the National Series champion from Australia, number 21, Lauren Reynolds. Those are the riders in today's main event. We're getting ready to drop it for the main event at stop number 2 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour here in Papendal. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. Let's get ready to see who will be crowned today's Queen of BMX and your podium partners as we get ready for the main event here.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the gate drops and there's a lot of power being put out, but right now it looks like it's from the inside, and it's going to be Mariana Pajon, Steffi Hernandez. Now Felicia Stansel's out there. They jump in there. Mariana Pajon gets over it clean. Felicia Stansel hangs up a little bit, and Elise Post is now going to drag race with her countrywoman down that second straightaway, but Mariana Pajon's long gone, Mike.
Yeah, unbelievable. She's kind of checked out of this one, hit that triple smooth where Elise and Felicia kind of were bonking, but yeah, in a different area code.
Look at that lead, number 100, Mariana Pajon, number 1 in the hearts of a lot of BMXers around the world, number 1 here in Papendal. She takes the victory. Felicia Stancil in second. Stephanie Hernandez back on the podium with that 3rd place spot. Caroline Buchanan goes through battling all day. She winds up with the 4th place spot. But right now it's all about the winner here in Papendal, number 100, Mariana Pajon.
Yeah, just smooth lap. 0 mistakes. Set the tone out of the gate with the whole shot, as you can see right here. And you could tell from her to the other girls, she hits the jumps, jump manual and that, gets right on the pedals, hits every landing perfect, and this is the deciding factor. You see Felicia comes up a bit short where Pajon clears it perfect, and that's kind of where the gap was made right there.
Yeah, talk about how important it is to land perfectly on the backside of that jump.
Yeah, you could see, Felicia was somewhat close to her, and all of a sudden she comes up a bit short. Whoa, and Felicia looks like she goes off the guy straight away there. Did you see that? But yeah, she hit the landing much better, and then all of a sudden she's got 10 bike lengths on all the girls.
Yeah, and to have that perfect lap, we saw that yesterday with Mariana Pajon having that perfect lap in her time trial. We saw it before in her semifinal, and we saw it once again. As you said, Mike, those days where you click, it all comes through. And today for Mariana Pajon, number 100, all of things click together, and she goes on to take the victory here and the win at stop number 2 of the World Cup. Let's get a word from today's winner, Mariana Pajon, winner of today's Elite Women's main event.
Mariana, you didn't win last year, but you won this year, and I know you really wanted it, and you absolutely rocked it on that last lap. Congratulations. This is your moment. What do you have to say?
Well, I really enjoyed the moment here. I really wanted to win this race from my mom. She's great, Mom, the best of the world, and I want to give this to her.
That's so sweet. And you also have a massive support behind you. Do you want to give any shout outs to your sponsors or your team?
Yeah, thank you everyone back home in Colombia. Daniel Barragan, who is fighting to be back on the track again, and all my sponsors, everyone who have believed in me, and thank you, Holland. I had an amazing time. Thank you very much.
Can you give us something in Spanish?
Claro que sí. A todos en Colombia los quiero mucho, a todas las mamás. Eso es para ustedes, luchadoras, guerreras, que nos hacen que nosotros estemos aquí triunfando. Más y triunfando. Te quiero mucho.
Congratulations, Mariana. You just took first.
Thank you. Yay.
So Mariana Pajon, today's champion in the Elite Women's Final. Mike, it was such a good race. Let's go through it again and talk us through it from Mariana's perspective.
Yeah, you look at her coming down the ramp, and this first jump's so tricky, but she gets it absolutely perfect. One of the few girls that can jump manual that well. And what we talked about the whole time today is this big triple. You see Felicia come up a bit short, where Mariana just hits it spot on and checks out.
And as you said before, anything can happen in BMX. Caroline Buchanan was in 8th place in that first turn. She made her way back up to 4th, but no one was going to catch Mariana. And look at that perfect style over that jump, Mike.
Yeah, her skills are just, a bit better than the rest of the girls at the moment. And you could just see she hits everything just spot on, perfect, carves the corners low, gets great exit speed and hits all the landings, and just a perfect lap for her.
So she had a 36-second lap, definitely fast around it, a full second ahead of that second place, but it doesn't matter. Just cross that line in front of anybody, and how sweet is the victory, Mike?
Yeah, I didn't get too many of those at this level, but I'm sure it feels great. Obviously she's been known to win on this Supercross series quite a bit, so.
All right, now we'll move over to the Elite Men, and we'll see if anyone goes for that double dice promotion. Sam Willoughby goes in. He says, I'm just worried about the win. He's going to pick lane number 1. Jelly Van Gorkum already told us he didn't want to have anything to do with lane 8. Let's see. He goes in lane 3. So a little bit of strategy play. He doesn't want to be next to Sam. Nick Kidman's up next. He does take lane 8. So he's been really successful from there before, but now we're in the main event. We'll see if things happen. So the rest of these guys are just going to probably slot in. You see Joris take lane number 2. But Nick Kidman, he's going to go for it. He's rolling the dice, as they say. And he's been great from lane 8 all day. So we'll see how things work out for him, because it's now the main event. And everybody just seems to be able to turn it up ever so much more when they get in that main event. But has Nick been running on 100% so far today? We don't know, but we'll see in a few moments here.
Yeah, I expected that after coming off those the quarter and the semi. So, wasn't a big shock. I'm really excited to see. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's, you know, first year, feeling good, got the track dialed. He's a local here, so he might have something for Sam in turn 1 here.
So as the rest of the riders get settled into their gates, again, Mike, just moments before the main event, what's the last thing that goes through your mind?
Just, you know, you kind of do a quick, you know, look down the front straightaway. You want, you know, kind of point where you want to end up, and just think of having that, you know, that perfect start that you're going to need to get an elbow in front of your competitor to the side of you.
So in the main event today, we're going to start from lane 1, make our way down to lane 8. In the inside, he had a fast lap before from lane 1. He's been in lane 1 all day. He's got that number 1 on his plate. The current world champion in elite men in both the time trial and the main event racing, Sam Willoughby from Australia. Sam definitely wants to win this race again. He won it last year. Can he do it? He has to get through the rest of these riders first. And next to him, number 22, also a past world champion out of France, Joris Daudet. In lane number 3, he's had some strong runs here today. He's won here also in the past. There's a lot of past winners in here. Number 37, Jelle van Gorkum. Lane number 4, it's going to be from Brazil. Strong on the circuit. He's had some issues getting back in the main, but he's there today. Renato Resende 500. Next to him, the strong Australian. They have 2 Australians in this main event. They'd love to go 1 and 2 as they did in that semifinal, but out of lane number 5, it's going to be Anthony Dean. Lane number 6, your bronze medalist from the Olympic Games has to be Carlos Aquindo from Colombia. Lane number 7, another Frenchman, Quentin Clarion. And it's all about lane 8. He's done it 2 times already, got that whole shot, but now it's all about the main event, and he hasn't raced Sam Willoughby yet today, so we'll see how things work out. From lane 8, number 313, Nick Kidman, last year's junior world champion, today having the chance to win a World Cup main event. We'll see how things pan out as we get ready to drop the gate here in the main event for the elite men at stop number 2 on the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour in Holland. Here we go with today's main event for the elite men.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the gate drops, and it looks like Jelle van Gorkum gets a good start, but Sam Willoughby's definitely out there. Can we see from the down in the end? Nick Kidman's got his way out front. He leans over on Sam Willoughby. He comes out of turn number 1, Mike, with the lead.
Oh man, I'm in shock. Putting the lane 8 to the world champion as it goes into that tricky off camera, but Sam around the track is unreal. So look for him to be making a push down this rhythm section.
Yeah, last year Sam Willoughby made that pass in the last turn. Right now he's all over Nick Kidman. Can he do it? We'll see. It's a Dutch sandwich. Looks like Sam Willoughby G's out. Nick Kidman's going to do it from lane 8. He's going to come across and take the victory. And we're going to have a photo finish for second, but we do know for sure lane 8 was the champion. Nick Kidman doubles the prize money, but more importantly, he's made his mark known on the Supercross World Cup Tour as he just won a main event here, not only overall, but in his home country, first year as an elite man. Got to be quite a day for that young man.
Unreal, coming from lane 8, quarter, semi, picks it with the new rule, the double prize purse, and not only that, wins the main. Unreal for the young elite.
So it's interesting to see because usually these guys are the toughest of competitors. Jelle's definitely excited. Jelle's also on the podium, so we have 2 Dutch riders on the podium. Sam Willoughby did get that second. Anthony Dean was 4th. Carlos Aquindo 5th. Renato Resende 6th. Quentin Clarion 7th. Joris Daudet 7th. 8th. But you see how excited they are for the youngster. Coming from lane 8, he's impressed everybody out here, Mike, and I see you more than anybody was jumping up and down as he was going around the track coming out of turn number 1 with that lead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in awe. I mean, I was shocked that he did in the quarter. I mean, he had a bad 3rd lap, so to be an 8 in the quarter, I was a little worried for him. Whole shots that one, keeps it rolling, and now he's in the main from lane 8 and up against the big dogs. I mean, that thing was stacked, and for him to win, it's unreal.
Out in front of some of the world's fastest riders, including the current world champion, Sam Willoughby. Nick Kidman just put his stamp down on that elite men's class, taking the win here, as Jelly Van Gorkum had done in the past. Got to be a great way to win your home country World Cup event, Mike.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's hard to win these things. I mean, there's so many, the depth is unreal now, and for the first year elite to do it from lane 8, I'm in here, I was pumping my fist around that whole lap. It was unreal.
To do it in front of your family as well. I know, Mike, your dad was a big supporter of you, and you can see his family's here, and just everyone's excited for him to take the victory today here in Papendal. And again, from lane 8, super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best feeling in the world right there.
So that is your winner, Nick Kidman, from today's Elite Men's Supercross World Cup here in Papendal. What a great day of racing was promised, and what a bunch of great racing was delivered. As from lane 8, Nick Kidman takes that win, and we're definitely going to be excited to hear from him, as he can tell us how, as what we saw, how great the feeling is for him as he's in our interview zone. We'll get ready to hear how things are for him, how excited he's feeling as he's won today's World Cup event.
Nick, you were a junior champion last year. This is your first year in Elite, and you just won from lane 8. This is probably one of the biggest moments. How do you feel?
Not probably, I'm sure it is. Last year World Champs was great, winning in front of the hometown crowd, but winning in Elite, in my first year in Elite, in front of the crowd, on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Well, you did amazing, and your family's here to support you, and I can see them crying over there, and everyone's so happy for you. This is your moment. Enjoy it.
Thank you, I will do.
Mike, how much of an impact is that going to be on this youngster's career?
Man, the first year of Elite is the most hard. You go through struggles. You kind of have to find your way. You got to, learn to ride against the best. And for him to just come out lane 8, and he's leading. We already know he's leading the European Tour, and then to win from lane 8 at your home race in front of your crowd, he's the future of BMX right now.
Look at those guys, Mike, 4 abreast going into that first jump, and Nick Kidman was not going to back down. You also saw Sam Willoughby definitely didn't want to back down, and Anthony Dean was right there. But talk us through this lap. Look how perfect it was.
Yeah, I mean, he goes over that tricky, comes up a bit short there, but I think he's in shock that he's also winning in front of Sam at the moment. But, powers down the rhythm section. Jelly squeaks in there for third to pass Dean there, but, right here, sees the finish line. He's you could see a smile into that helmet from here.
It was almost a replay of last year. Sam Willoughby was in second behind Twan Van Gent. They went into that last turn with Van Gent in front. Sam Willoughby in second. He made the pass. Today, no one was passing Nick Kidman as he comes from lane 8, taking double prize money, winning today's main event. And that race was so good, we're going to watch it again, Mike. But as you said, from the inside, Sam Willoughby had a good run. Anthony Dean was out there as well. But watch how stacked and how close these riders get right down here.
Yeah, Kelleron was in lane 7, and he got obviously cut off real quick by Kidman because he's got to get over from lane 8. But, whole shot in from lane 8 in front of Sam Willoughby with the rainbow stripes, it's unreal. So pumped for this kid. Right here, my hands were in the air clapping for him, just watching this.
And as you saw, he even hung up a little bit there. And talk us through this story, because it did look like he had it perfect, but he had it good enough to keep the lead.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth. I mean, no big mistakes there. You could see he goes very inside there to protect Sam coming in. He's getting those last few pedals,
but Sam looked to make an aggressive move there, and maybe it was just a little bit too much as you saw him absorb it up, and that took any chance away he had to use the momentum coming through that last turn to make a pass.
Yeah, he knew that the race was coming to an end. He had to try a couple, extra pedals, tried to pump it a little too hard, bonked, almost let third place come by. But, yeah, another podium for Sam.
And then we'll go back to remind you of Mariana's impressive run here in that women's main event. Mike, again, just talk us through her perfect lap.
Yeah, picture perfect jump manual on that first jump. So tricky for the girls. Hits that triple just, on boost. She gets the perfect backside and kind of checks out where Felicia and Elise were kind of battling with each other, kind of clogging up the rest of the pack, where Mariana just had a clear track.
As you kind of watch it, it looks like her time trial lap. She's so far out front. The rest of those women just should watch her to learn the perfect spot. But, you know, they want to be up there as well. But no one was able to pass Mariana Pajon today, as she had a great run, and she took the win. She could have done it from lane 8. She did it from lane 1. Either way, the victory's the victory. She's super excited. So now after 2 stops on the tour, Mike, we can get a little bit better picture of where these riders sit in points. And you see it now. There's a tie with Mariana Pajon and Caroline Buchanan for the overall lead. Steffi Hernandez, consistency. She's in that 3rd place spot. Then you have Elise Post, Felicia Stansel, Meryl Van Bentham, Lauren Reynolds, and Natalia Sarova. Those are going to be the top 8 in the elite women rank after these 2 events.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline obviously is going to have to go home and do a bit of homework. She just didn't look like herself today, kind of struggling with the course a little bit. So I look for her to be, you know, going home and making those adjustments for next round.
Yeah, last year when anytime she had a bad race, she came right back and she was on fire. So as we move over to the men's side, Sam Willoughby, a familiar spot leading the overall series, but Abdul Muir in that 2nd place spot, that's new for him. And Nick Kimman with that win catapults himself up to 3rd. Liam Phillips steps back from number 1 back to 4th. Joris Daudet been consistent. He's in that 5th place spot. Yella Von Gorkum moves up to 6th. Edzis Tremonis in 7th. And Carlos Oquindo, after today's main event appearance, he moves into those top 8 ranking as well.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, obviously Sam's, you know, he goes for every title, and it's not surprising that he's up there. So I think all these guys will be chasing those rainbows, and obviously Kinman coming in on the first year and already in 3rd place and leading the European rounds. It's pretty unreal.
So that's 5 stops on the tour. It's going to be consistency to win this title. We'll see how things are shaken up so much after 2 stops. But now we'll get to today's podium presentation for the elite women. And as you see right there, 3rd place today from Venezuela, Steffi Hernandez. Definitely consistent, as she was 3rd in Manchester.
Yeah, 2 podiums. I mean, getting on the podium at these Supercross races is hard. So seeing her up there twice is pretty impressive so far.
So in 2nd today, a great run for her, Felicia Stansel from the USA.
That's the most comfortable I've seen her ride lately. I mean, she was struggling a little bit last year on the World Cup Series. Good to see her back to form and on the podium.
It's a great place to be, but sometimes it could be considered the worst place to be, because you don't want to be 2nd place. Everybody wants to be on the top spot. But for today, there's only one woman, obviously, that can do that, and it's a woman that's done it a lot of times in the past. The Olympic Games, the World Championships, number 100 from Colombia, Mariana Pajon.
Yeah, just like we said, picture-perfect laps from her all day. Her skills are just unreal compared to most of the girls. She jumped manuals, which is super hard to do, and especially for the women, and her jumping skills are just unreal.
So being consistent throughout the year is what's going to get you this title. Mariana looked to be consistent as possible this weekend, as she could be winning each and every lap. So she's going to go out the champion. Felicia definitely gave her a good run for her money, and Stephanie being consistent in that 3rd place spot overall. So there is today's podium for the elite women here at stop number 2, the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. Impressive to see these women out there, Mike. We got a little bit of a break now before the next one of these World Cups. We got next month's the European Games, and then we have the World Championships, and the next stop's not until August on the World Cup Tour. How do you come back and regroup if you're just off ever so slightly to make some advancements in your program?
I mean, obviously you can always pick a couple good things away from the weekend, and obviously you got to use those to kind of build, but a lot of these guys will watch film and see where they were struggling against the other guys, make some adjustments in training, and kind of come back. And obviously the ultimate goal is peaking for Worlds and the later the World Cup circuit.
So now we'll get ready for today's podium presentation for the elite men. Again, an incredible race, and how excited are the fans here when we have 2 of their national team riders up on that podium, 1st and 3rd, and we'll start things off with Yella Van Gorkum. Past winner here, but today he's 3rd place overall in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he's won here before, another podium in front of his home crowd. It's got to be a good feeling for him.
So it looked like Yellow was excited for that third place, but he's almost even more excited for the win from Kinman, and that's a great support unit from your teammate. It's great to see such great sportsmanship here on the World Cup Tour. So now we'll move to second place, a guy that's used to the podium, but it's usually in that middle spot. Today it's second, your current world champion, the UCI BMX. It's going to be Sam Willoughby from Australia. Sam definitely wanted to make, as we said, that last turn pass as he did last year, but today he's going to settle for second, and that's just going to fuel the fire for Sam. Crashed in Manchester, but today second place is definitely a step up, but not where he wants to be.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. He always does. He doesn't have those jerseys for no reason, so I assure him to be up top here soon.
So, as you said, having that World Championship jersey definitely helps you out. This guy has one. It's just in the junior class. He can't wear it now, but today what he can wear is the winner mark from being a winner of Elite Men's World Cup event. It's going to be Nick Kinman from right here in the Netherlands. Got to be excited to win that race today.
Double the prize money, lane 8, quarter semi-main, first-year elite. I mean, everything's clicking for this guy right now.
What a day, Mike. You can't explain what it feels like, but you could just see that smile on this youngster's face. He's going to make his mark. He's made his mark known today, but he wants to continue on, and I expect to see some great things from Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. I mean, it's hard to win one of these, and he just did it in a pretty surprising fashion. So it's the future of BMX right
there. So incredible racing here today in Holland. A great run of the elite women, won by Mariana Pahon, and an ultra impressive main event for these elite men with Nick Kinman, first-year junior, making his way onto the top spot on that program. Let's bring both of winners back from today. It's going to be Mariana Pahon and Nick Kinman, your two champions from the elite women's and the elite men's class today here at stop number 2 of the Supercross World Cup Tour.
And the champagne goes there.
Time to pop some bottles, Mike.
Get ready to
And Nick Kinman's going to have to win a few more races to learn Mariana's got a good practice in that. But they are excited to get the day done, and it's got to be a great feeling after all the work, all the effort put into it to win that main event.
Back onto stage, Jennifer Gorkum, Sam Willoughby, as well as Felicia Stansel and Stephanie Hernandez.
So we'll get all of our podium placed riders today up on that podium for one last shot here from Papendal. Mike, what's your takeaway from the day?
The Netherlands, they got, I mean, we have always known their program's unreal. Two of the podium guys from the Netherlands. Felicia stuck out to me as she's starting to make progress as she leads in. Sam's going to be a bit bummed about the weekend. He'll go back and regroup, and Mariana doesn't surprise me that she's winning again.
All right, well, a great event here in Papendal. We thank you so much for tuning in. There are your 6 podium riders from today. Your winner in the middle there with the white jersey, Mariana Pahon. Nick Kinman, he's the elite men's champion for the day. I'm Pete Deluski, Mike Day. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in a few months' short time. Thanks for tuning in to today's UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour from Holland.
Had ik ben naar Boele? Had ik ben naar Boele?
From the shores of the Caspian Sea, in the ancient land of Azerbaijan, rises the first European Games. Be part of sporting history in Baku this June. The European Games, Baku 2015, rise to the occasion.